Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another weekly outlook video. Alright, so as usual, I kind of just went through the pairs to have a quick scan to see what looks interesting to me. So I'll just kind of run over everything as usual in this video. So starting here on AUDCAD. So this pair for me is kind of having a trend shift. We had a clear break of this this trend line just here. It did break it it didn't really break it impulsively, but the move once it broke was a quite impulsive move. Usually when you see a break of a clear trend line like this, if it's a very clear trend line, you'd normally see it be retested as resistance and then drop. The price didn't really have the legs to even push back up to the trend line. We also had the structural low here, which was broken. It was broken on this very move that broke the trend line. And since then, we've kind of failed to even, so we had our previous high here. This was the previous low. Upon breaking this high, this would be a new high, this would be a new low. And then once this low broke, we started to form the lower highs and lower lows. So price is kind of at an interesting point right now. I mean, obviously this is very clear market structure, just breaking and retesting. We kind of broke this level here, we retested, we broke this level here. This is no longer valid. This zone was just here to see if price would actually break the previous low, which it did. So the new zone is kind of down here, all right, which was it was broken and retested, kind of spiked above, came back below. And then we have this low here that's currently being tested. So for me, I'd probably be looking for short positions on this, maybe back to these final lows just here. Obviously, it's kind of probably ready to go, depending on how market opens. But if I see some very clear rejection, I don't usually trade on Sundays, but my trade will probably look something like this if I do enter. If price kind of pushes up a little bit more, kind of rejects the level, shows clear signs of rejections, maybe spikes above, comes back below. But this is the area I'll be interested in entering. I'll be very patient with my entry. Initial profits would probably be at this level just here, which would be a nice 3-to-1, and then final targets for me would kind of be these lows just here. So that's something I'll be looking at once the market opens. All right, so that's AUDCAD, AUDCHF. So this one, I'll be looking for buys, but because that we still have that uptrend structure, right? So before this initial move up here, we had this high, and this would be the low for me before that high, right? Because this is the low that started the move that broke this high just here. So it failed to even pull back to the level, so we've kind of been stuck in this range, right? So what I'll be waiting to see on this pair is I'll wait to see either if price spikes above these previous highs just here. All right, if it does, then hopefully I'll find that retest and then look for a continuation. If that does happen, then I'll be interested in trading that, so something like that. Or if we could see price kind of just continue to trickle as it is and kind of just pull all the way back slowly into this trend line, show some signs of rejection here, then I'll probably look to get long, right? So it depends on how price gets to the trend line and what it does when it gets here. Then I'll make trading decisions, but that's kind of the two options I'll be looking at. I wouldn't really be taking sells as it is right now, because that uptrend structure is still intact, even though it's stuck in this range, because it's not breaking any highs or breaking any lows. So I just have to kind of wait around to see what this pair wants to do. All right, so I'll just be keeping an eye on it. AUDJPY. So this one is also kind of interesting for me. It's very similar in structure to the AUDCHF, but the uptrend structure for me is still intact. We had price spike beneath my trend line that I was interested in. I don't particularly just trade off of trend lines, but when the trend lines are very clear, I like a third touch of a trend line. So right here on this third touch, that would have been a perfect trade for me. You know, obviously it was disrespected here. You always tend to find at least one kind of fake out, right? So hopefully this was the fake out. Formed a pretty decent W formation, probably clear on the 1 hour time frame, but you have this W here formation. So if price somehow manages to pull back into the trend line, maybe line up with a zone in the past or something, show some clear signs of rejection, probably even some hidden divergence or something, then I'll look to get long. Equally, you know, there's this area here which was broken and price is currently retesting. So, you know, we might very well see price just reverse from this area and then completely disrespect the trend line entirely, right, and just continue to crash lower, at which point obviously my bias would change. But for now, structures for me is still in place, and if it does manage to kind of crack above, you know, maybe I'll look to get involved, depending on what it does with these kind of levels in here, right? I'll just be keeping an eye on it, and if I find any good trading opportunities for now in, you know, in the long direction, then I'll be looking for long opportunities. But you know, I'm fully aware that we could see price just kind of crash all the way lower, right? Just completely disrespect everything and just kind of crash back lower. So I'll just be keeping an eye on it. CADCHF. So this is something I was looking at a couple of weeks ago, and it actually played out. I mean, it took longer than expected, but it actually did play out, right? So I was expecting price to push back into the level, which it did, show some signs of rejection, dip beneath, push back above. So I mean, my level is probably a little bit off, so it didn't actually retest into the level like I was expecting. I had an alert set just here in the level, so if it pulled back into the level, then I'll look for a long opportunity, and that is still kind of what I'm looking for, right? So I'm just gonna wait to see if price could pull back into the level, show some signs of rejection, and then I'll look to get long. It's not the clearest of setups for me, but you know, obviously we've been in this uptrend for a while, so I'll just continue looking for long positions. The clearer opportunity for me would be a nice clear break of the highs. So a nice clear break of the highs, and if that happens, so if we find the momentum to push above, I'll look for it to come back, retest, and then look for long opportunities. All right, I can get rid of this for now. Already served its purpose. All right, so CADJPY. So this was the analysis I was looking at a little while ago when I did analysis back here. So I was just looking for price to kind of pull back into this kind of daily level just here. That would include the daily wick just before that evening star formation. But the clearer zone for me is just here, because you know, that's kind of just a wick above, came back, showed rejection, and then it clearly broke above, right? So I'd still be looking for price to kind of pull back. It did try to pull back, but kind of respected this high just here. This high just here. All right, so that's the zone that was respected. And if price continues to kind of push above, then that's fine. A nice clear opportunity for me on this would be a break of these highs, and if that does happen, then I'll look for long opportunities. There's also kind of this mini level just in here, right, where it kind of made that small pulse. All right, so we could probably see price just kind of pull back into this level, reject, and then push. If that happens, that would be good. I don't know if, I mean, it depends on if I find a trading opportunity at this minor level on the lower time frames. I'll keep an eye on it. Otherwise, I'll just look for that nice clear momentum to break above these previous highs just here, come back, retest, and look for long opportunities there. Obviously, if price crashes lower, then I'll be looking for buy opportunities at this level just here. All right, so next on the list, so Euro AUD, I'm just managing still. EURCAD. So This one for me is at an interesting level. I was hoping to see price kind of pull back into this level when I did analysis kind of around this area, but it failed to pull back. Instead, it respected these previous lows just here, which, you know, price kind of broke below, came back, tested, and then started to drop. The reason why I'm gonna continue looking for shorts on this pair is because I have a very strong feeling we're gonna see price return to this origination, right? So before this move started, this area, or I guess a demand, I guess, I don't know, but you know, we had this strong impulsive move, and then price has kind of just been stuck in a range, and then finally price started to tail off, and I just have a feeling we're gonna aim for that kind of area. So I'll just be looking for short positions here. A clear short position for me would be a break of the lows, and if that happens, we see a nice clear break of the lows, then I'll look for a retest and then look for the continuation. So yeah, if price does manage to pull back, then I'll kind of pay attention to the trend line, see if it lines up maybe with these previous highs, forming some kind of double top or something like that. So it's just something for me to kind of keep my eye on. So I'll just be watching this pair this week. EURGBP. So very similar to EURCAD. So we have the same kind of structure. These structure lows here, which started this massive impulsive move. I'm looking for price to kind of return to that point of origination. So kind of around this level just here. Yeah, so what I'll be looking for on this pair, we just look at the H4 just a little bit closer. You can see this very clear area of support, right? So if price does manage to find the momentum, because we kind of finding momentum here, even though we had that kind of descending channel into the level, right? We very well might see kind of, you know, price just start to range from here, or it very well might reverse, right? But the clear trade for me, if it does continue with the momentum that's shown, then I'll look for a break below, come back, retest, and then look for it to drop, right? So if for me to start looking for longs on this pair, I would look for, because we kind of have this trend line here. Actually, yeah, look at that, right? So you kind of have this trend line here that was well respected. Price spiked above but dipped back beneath, showed resistance just here, broke above, kind of tried to come back, tested as resistance, but it's actually testing it as tested as support, sorry, and then it's looking like it's testing it as support right here. So I don't know, we very well might see it reverse from this area, right? Just something to kind of keep my eye on, I guess. You know, the clear move for me would be a sell, right? Breaking beneath, come back, retest, and then look for the drop. But for me to start looking for buys, I'd probably just want to see some nice clear structural breaks. So if we do see price start to break these highs, confirmed lower lows, then, you know, maybe at that point I'll start looking for long opportunities, but I wouldn't be looking for long opportunities in this area. I'd like to see a nice structural change, and then I'll get involved. EURJPY. So this one is kind of in a funny place, right? We have so we kind of have equal lows just here, right? So if this low, right, I'll just draw it in. So this zone just here, right? If this zone was to be broken, right, then I'll be looking for short opportunities, right? We'd have a confirmed break of the trend line together with this previous low, but for now we actually still forming uptrend structure, right? So what I'll be looking for on this pair is just to see what it does around this area, right? So it's currently paused at these previous lows just here, so we very well might see it correct and then kind of drop, you know, something like that may happen, or we very well might see it correct for a bit, all right, back into the kind of trend line, and hopefully, you know, find that break above come back, retest it, and then I'll look for long opportunities, right? So if either one of these scenarios play out, I mean, I'll only be looking to trade one particular scenario, which would be the long opportunities, because the structure is still in place for me. But if this week we do see price kind of crash lower, breaking these lows, then if it does manage to pull back and retest those broken lows, then I'd probably look to change my bias to short opportunities, depending on how it breaks, right? But I'll be keeping an eye on it, right? EURJPY and AUDJPY seems to be very, very similar, right? So it kind of has the same sort of structure in place. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on both of them, and whichever looks most clear. If it does set up, then I'll take the opportunity that looks most clear. GBPNZD. So this one for me is kind of the start of another push higher. So we were kind of in this very rangy downtrend, and then price kind of really just been ranging for a while, right? But it's been ranging with that kind of upward structure, right? So what I'm seeing here that happened this week is that we had price kind of try to break above this level quite a few times, right? And rejected it as resistance. But we found some legs, and it finally broke above with very, very strong momentum, right? So the clearest opportunity here for me will be a nice slow retracement back to the level, maybe confluence with the trend line, confluence with the broken highs, and then look for continuation. So hopefully see some kind of nice flag formation. But we're also seeing that we kind of have this flag formation here, which already formed, right? So we had that impulse, it kind of ranged for a bit, and then we had that second impulse, right? So what might actually happen with this pair is we're currently kind of approaching these highs that were broken impulsively. So we very well might see price just kind of pull into that level, pull back into the broken highs, reject, and then kind of form that continuation, right? So if depending on what price does at this level, these broken highs, then I'd look to get involved. If price does break beneath and kind of form that corrective structure, then this is the clearer opportunity for me. GBPUSD. So I'm also looking for buys on this pair. I took a trade off of this level last week, right? But in hindsight, I did probably rush the trade just a little bit. But what we saw is that price price broke beneath the level, broke beneath the trend line, and then broke back above, right? So what I'll be looking at what I'll be looking for on this pair would be a retracement with rejection. So I'll try to be patient this time with rejection, and then look for that continuation. So this is a trade I'll be looking at, depending on how market opens and what price does in London. This is what I'll be kind of looking at. Obviously, as usual, we could just see price crash lower because we have these lows here that price needs to get past, right? So we could see price struggle at this area, and then just the sellers could take over and we could just see price fall, right? But for now, I'll just be looking for buys, because for me the uptrend structure is still in place. NZDCAD. Alright, so on NZDCAD here, my bias is completely changed, because we had this very, very clear breaker structure. So we had these previous lows here together with this shorter term trend line. The price broke very, very impulsively, didn't even retrace to test it as resistance, and we just continued to form lower lows and lower highs. We had these previous lows just here that were recently broken this week, very, very impulsively. So I'll be looking for price to probably, if it can, which will be asking a lot of price, but I'll be looking to see if price could probably retrace, back into this level. Just, it's asking a lot of price, right? But if it does retrace, I'll be looking for short opportunities at this level. That's the clearest level for me. I've got an alert set, so I'll be waiting to see if that happens. NZDCHF. Alright, so in the opposite to NZDCAD, on NZDCHF, I'll be looking for long opportunities. So we have this kind of structural trend line just here, together with these previous highs that were broken and never retested. Price did almost come to it last week, but it never did. So I'll just be waiting to see if price does kind of retrace again, dip into the level, show some rejection, and then I'll look for that kind of continuation, right? Same analysis as I did from before, right? So this still holds true. I can actually delete that and just pull this over. So yeah, I'll just continue looking for something like this. If this does happen, then I'd be more than happy to get involved. Equally, if it doesn't happen and price just continues to push higher, then I'll look for scaling opportunities. We're currently sitting at this level here, right? So we had resistance, turn support, now as resistance again. So it depends. We'll just wait to see what price does. If it breaks above, maybe come back and retest those highs. You know, that may be an option, right? So I'll just wait to see what price has to do. NZDJPY, I believe this is very similar to AUDJPY and EURGBP. Right, so we had trend line disrespected, tried to test it as resistance but broke back above. So I'll just be waiting to see if price can pull back into this level, confluence with the trend line, and then look for continuation. NZDUSD. And obviously with NZDJPY, I mean, I just kind of skimmed it over, right? But it's exactly the same analysis as EURJPY and AUDJPY. It kind of falls into that category. So whichever of those three pairs that look the most convincing, if any of those set up, then, you know, that's the pair I'll be trading. NZDUSD, very similar to NZDCAD. So I'm just waiting for it to pull back if it can. Back into this level here, these broken lows, you know, it was, you know, broken very impulsively, right? So if that could happen, then I'll look for trading opportunities. Obviously for me, I was previously looking for long opportunities, but we formed this very clear lower low, and obviously we formed the lower high, right? So we're just looking for that kind of continuation for some more downside on this pair. I'll just add an alert here actually. All right, cool. So alert set. So if that does manage to pull back, I'll look for opportunities there. USDCHF. So I'll just continue looking for long opportunities on this pair because I'm seeing a bullish US dollar for a little while. And this uptrend structure, I mean, we were previously in some clear downtrend structure, but it's very clear to see we've, you know, started to form so very clear bullish structure, right? So on this pair for me, I'll be looking at just a retracement back into these broken highs just here. It's never retested. Once I see some rejection, once I, oops. Sorry, yeah, I'll be looking for price to pull back into this level. Once I see some rejection, then I'll be looking for continued long opportunities. We also have this kind of minor level here on the lower time frames, which might be respected. So I'll just pay some attention to that as well. If price does pull back into that level, then I'll see what it does, right? But yeah, I'll be looking for long opportunities on this pair. And then last but not least is USDJPY. So we currently had price form this previous level of resistance, but we broke above it this week. So I'll just be looking for price to pull back into that level, show some rejection, and then look for long opportunities. Same sort of deal as USDCHF. We were previously in a downtrend for some time. You know, we were previously in this massive downtrend, and then obviously we started to make that uptrend structure, right? I thought in the past we would see a deeper correction back to this level here, but you know, we did kind of have price struggle at the level before it found the legs to kind of make this level. So I mean, make these new highs, right? So we have this resistance being formed, so that's the level I'll be looking at this week. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the analysis this week. Hopefully we have a nice wrap up to March. You know, we got a couple days left, so hopefully we get some nice opportunities. If not, you know, hopefully we start April off on, you know, a strong foot. So we see some nice trading weeks and months ahead. So as usual, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and obviously if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe and join me on this trading journey of mine. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.